Two former political rivals are now set to face off in Alabama's race for governor. Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville and former Democratic Senator Doug Jones both easily won their primaries earlier this month and are vying for the governor's office come November. This marks the second time the two candidates have gone head-to-head. In 2020, Tuberville unseated then-Senator Doug Jones after receiving a major endorsement from President Trump. But 6 years later, Jones is betting that growing frustration with President Trump and the Republican Party could give Democrats an opening to flip a statewide office in deep red Alabama. Joining us now is former U.S. Senator Doug Jones. Hello, Doug Jones.
Hello, Molly. How are you doing?
Good to see you. You won a statewide office in Alabama before, but governor's a heavy lift, and Tommy Tuberville is not Roy Moore. So what's your plan this time?
You know, it's a heavy lift for sure. I mean, we know that we're an underdog in there, but there's a lot different than in 2020. First of all, a governor's race is a heavy lift, but a Senate race is a far different cry in a state like Alabama. It's just a different dynamic when you're looking at a governor's race. The second thing is in 2020, we were facing COVID and we were facing a guy who really had only a sports record. He's got a political record right now, and it's not very good. It is one of those things that he consistently embarrasses the state. He's not had any major legislation at all that helps the state of Alabama or the country for that matter. And the fact of the matter is that Donald Trump is underwater in Alabama. I know that's hard to believe, but the latest YouGov Economist poll shows he's underwater by 2 percentage points. That's a heck of a drop. And so there are opportunities here. Plus the fact that just like the rest of the country, people are hurting. People are seeing not just their gas prices, their electricity prices, their grocery prices, health care, all of that is on the table, unlike the way it was in 2020 as much. And so that, I think, gives folks across the South, but particularly Alabama, a big opening and a big opportunity.
Senator, I am long acquainted with Tommy Tuberville because I lived near Ole Miss in Mississippi growing up. So Ole Miss fans have a long history there. But here's what I want to ask you. So Alabama, I believe you have to, according to the Alabama Constitution, you have to be a resident for 7 years. Correct me if it's 7 or 8. You know for sure. But Tommy Tuberville's residency has been a little conflicted, and he had the home in Auburn moved into his name, I believe, the last couple of years, but it's not the 7 years continuous requirement. Do you or your campaign intend to challenge his eligibility for the governorship?
You know, look, it's a great point, and certainly it is a huge political issue for him because it's not only a constitutional issue and rule of law issue, it's about whether or not you tell the people of Alabama the truth. And the fact is that everybody in Alabama knows he's really not a resident of the state of Alabama. He's not been here very much. He spends his time on the beach down in northern Florida, and that's where he is. That's where he stays. That's where he lives. Now, as far as challenges, I don't know if a challenge is going to be filed. I expect one to be filed. Our campaign, per se, is not doing that. There is a lot of information out there right now that's both public record that I think calls into question his residency. The campaign's not going to do this. We're not going to be involved in this, but I do expect that there's going to be a serious challenge. There's way too much talk, and people are beginning to recognize that this is not just an issue about whether or not this guy lives in Alabama and is a neighbor. It's about the rule of law, and that is something that we're seeing being thrown in the garbage can so much by this administration, as well as, I think, Republicans in the state of Alabama.
Senator, a minute ago, you mentioned some of the affordability issues that have been central to this year's elections across the board, whether state, local, or federal. And in particular, you name-checked health care. Alabama remains one of a few states across the country that has not expanded Medicaid. I'm wondering if you have a plan to ensure that Medicaid does get expanded in your state, and so you have fewer people. I think it's a couple 100,000 people in the state who are in the coverage gap right now and unable to qualify for health insurance. Do you have a plan to get that through? I know it's a heavy lift in Alabama.
It is going to be a heavy lift, but the plan is pretty simple. It's one, have a bully pulpit. We've not had a governor or even any statewide office holder that has been a champion of expanding Medicaid. It has been all for purely political reasons. Totally has nothing to do with the best interest of the state of Alabama. It's purely political. But the plan is that on day one, the governor can do this. The governor can expand the eligibility for Medicaid. That doesn't mean it's funded. You've got to work with the legislature. But I think there's been an undercurrent over the years to expand Medicaid, and just politically, folks in the legislature just couldn't bring themselves to do it, and there was no real push from the governor or any state office holder. So we're going to expand that eligibility on day one, and then we'll start working with the legislature. We can find the money because too many rural hospitals depend on it. The economies of our rural counties depend on it. We are losing hospitals. We're losing doctors. We're losing nurses. So it is going to be a huge priority for a Jones administration for sure.
Doug, I would love you to talk about what it takes for a red state to go for a blue governor, because we've seen it before. Kansas is a good example. You know, we've seen red states elect Democratic governors. Part of what I worry about with Alabama is that there's just a large number of disenfranchised voters. Are you guys sort of focused on voter registration? And also, what does it take to flip a red state at the governorship?
Yeah, Molly, it's a great question. And yeah, we will do a good bit of voter registration. But the problem in Alabama is not registration. The problem is engagement and getting people excited about going to the polls. We have now gone through a couple of decades where people just do not believe their vote counts. We've got to give them that hope. We've got to give them a reason to believe. And that's what we're doing across the state. And I can tell you the numbers are bearing that out. Just in our primary on May the 19th, you saw we don't have party registration. We've got an open primary in Alabama. And the number of Democratic ballots that were given out and voted on May 19th doubled from what it was in 2022, our last statewide election. The Republicans, on the other hand, who spent millions of dollars, I mean, Democrats spent virtually nothing in the primary. Republicans spent millions of dollars in some very hotly contested races. Their numbers were down. Their ballots were 25% less. So there's something out there. People are anxious. They're ready for a change. We're giving folks choices for the first time in 2006. We're giving folks choices up and down the ballot, and people are recognizing that.
Senator Doug Jones, thank you for coming on with us, and we will keep watching Alabama in your race with a lot of interest.
All right. Thank you.